It's 3:15, and that means it's time for...
The Real Deal with Bill McNeil.
That's right. Welcome once again to The Real Deal with Bill McNeil. I'm your host, Bill McNeil, and you're probably wondering exactly what is the real deal today.
Hey, good question.
Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes. Earlier today, Aaron Sparrow joined me. We reviewed the last season of Loki. I'm hoping Aaron and Skip are both going to join me to review Hawkeye on Disney Plus later this year. We got the first trailer for Hawkeye, and you were not so happy earlier this morning, but I think we're going to get a smile on that, Aaron Sparrow. How are you doing today?
I'm doing much better now that we're talking about something that doesn't make me want to open my wrists.
Absolutely. So I haven't loved the MCU on Disney Plus. I don't think it's terrible. I just don't think it's been great yet. And this is the first. Yeah, this was the first trailer that's got me really excited. It almost felt like did they just decide to do Die Hard, like a sequel to Die Hard in the MCU? This thing looks great.
It's funny because Hawkeye is the series that I had the least amount of anticipation for, that I thought that I would be the least interested in, and it's the trailer that has me the most interested, oddly enough.
It looks like it's the most fun.
Yeah, it absolutely does. First of all, I love Hailee Steinfeld. I think that she's great. I think she's a fantastic actress. First saw her in True Grit with Jeff Bridges, and if you guys haven't seen that, even if you're not a Western fan, definitely go check it out. That movie is amazing. It's a great update to the genre.
Girl power done right.
Exactly. Like it's just she's unbelievable in that. And, I loved her in Bumblebee, and I liked her as Ghost Spider on Into the Spider-Verse. So, she's already got high marks from me. And then, Jeremy Renner, I haven't disliked him as Hawkeye, but I've never really felt too connected to him. I think
he was a stale character in the MCU. He's kind of a background character.
Yeah, they don't really know what to do with him. I think Matt Fraction's kind of take on Hawkeye kind of ruined him in for a lot of writers.
Absolutely.
He's definitely not the character that I grew up loving. But this makes him look fun, and this makes him look like he's going to get to do some cool stuff. I do have a couple of, things I'm curious about that I think are tonally weird with the way that this trailer played out. But you know what? At this point, I don't care. I'll just take a fun show with a lot of action. Give me that.
Yeah, so we open up. It looks like we got Jeremy Renner and his children after they returned from the blip. They haven't seen each other in a while. It looks like his wife isn't there, so I'm not sure if maybe the parents are split up and he has the kids visiting for the holidays and he's ready to celebrate Christmas. But a demon from his past, that being Ronin, has showed up on the news. He has to go investigate, and it turns out Hailee Steinfeld has taken up his Ronin identity to maybe get some revenge. Not really sure why she's doing it, but it plays on the way Kate Bishop was introduced into the Marvel universe in comics, but I think it does it better here, or at least it looks like it.
Yeah, it definitely looks like it. They do it better. She definitely looks like she's more fun. I've never really cared for Kate Bishop in the comics. She's generally written as snarky and self-entitled, and I don't like it at all. And I don't like the way that they play her as like, I'm so much better than Hawkeye, because Hawkeye, before Matt Fraction got a hold of him, was a great character. He, was just a moral character. He wanted to live up to the ideals that he saw in Captain America, Steve Rogers. I really loved that about him. It's like he started out as a criminal, but he wanted to make good. And he became a leader. He led the West Coast Avengers. He went on and he led the Thunderbolts. Those were all great stories told by great writers, great creative teams. And he kind of became a hipster doofus under Matt Fraction.
Well, not even that. He was just a complete loser because she looked up to him once the two Hawkeyes met, and he had to elevate Kate Bishop. He had to absolutely destroy the original Hawkeye and just make him look like a complete loser. And even by the end of those two characters' interactions, she's like, I don't know why I ever wanted to meet you.
Yeah, and you know what's strange to me about that is you want to build up this character, Kate Bishop, and so you have to tear down Hawkeye. But if she's better than a loser, how good is she really?
Exactly.
If you have a character who's great like Hawkeye and who's great at what he does, and he, and Kate Bishop earns his respect, that's so much more powerful than the way that Matt Fraction handled it and the way that modern Marvel handles these things. It reminds me of a story Mick Foley told, where he said that he was in the feud with this wrestler who was older than him, And so he went out and he cut a promo where he made a bunch of jokes about his age, saying things like, when he walks past a graveyard, the Undertakers chase him down, because they think that he's escaped. And he went into the back after cutting the promo, and the older wrestler, basically told him, like, what the hell are you doing? And he said, what do you mean? I was cutting a promo. I was running you down. And he goes, you have to run me down in a way that also builds me up to the audience. He goes, because if you just keep talking about how old I am and how infirm I am and that I can't wrestle anymore, and you go out and beat me, who the hell have you beat? You haven't accomplished anything. And if I beat you, then what a piece of shit you are. He's like, you have to beat an old man so that you look better if you go over.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the weirdest thing. It's definitely hampered the character of Kate Bishop. There's no reason that character couldn't be successful in comics. And it looks like that they've kind of figured some things out here. He does run into Kate Bishop as Ronin, kind of assuming the identity. And it looks like there's some fun jokes, obviously, with the arrows. And he's like, not that one. That one's the dangerous one. Not that one. And then when she finally gets to shoot one, everything blows up, and she's like, that's not the dangerous one.
Yeah, they're giving her a real wide-eyed kind of, even though she's running around, murking fools, they're giving her kind of a wide-eyed innocence. And if there is some like legit hero worship going on with her, I think that could be a lot of fun. And I'm like, man, what a cool thing to look at Kate Bishop and think that this character could be fun. And I think this is one area that, for all the ups and downs of the MCU of late, I think this is one area where they excel, where they take these things that have been created by modern writers that have not worked in the comic books, and they have a real chance to kind of like leave that baggage behind and create something that might actually be interesting. So I am looking forward to this. Sorry. I hope they really nail it.
I got to talk to my dog.
Okay.
So obviously we saw a couple other things. It makes sense that this character would look up to Hawkeye in this movie. Obviously, the Avengers, they brought everybody back. They brought half the population back. You would assume that they brought like half of Kate Bishop's family back. This would be a character you want to look up to. And I hope that they don't portray Jeremy Renner's character like the original Clint Barton, like as some type of moron or somebody who's like losing it.
No, I think there could be some fun things where, she realizes this guy that she's looked up to is actually a human being. He's got some foibles. He's got some flaws. That's always, the don't meet your heroes is always kind of an interesting thing to work with.
I apologize. Normally I don't record during the day. And one of the reasons is because there's a lot of activity outside and the dog goes ham every once in a while. Sorry about that, Aaron.
People are walking by and your dog's like, I don't think so, pal.
Yes, exactly.
Not coming near my human. But I think that if you can, counterbalance that with, these two characters having mutual respect for each other and each other's skills, I think we could end up with a really fun show. So I'm really hopeful that that's the direction that it goes in.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of fun. There's some weird stuff in here. Apparently, there's like a Captain America the musical, and it feels like with the sacrifice that Steve Rogers, Captain America, made during Endgame, that people would be like putting him on Broadway and making a stupid musical would almost seem like mocking the character in his sacrifice.
I don't know. I think it's probably just a throwaway joke. Like, hey, somebody made a Steve Rogers musical based on the life of Captain America, which is probably something that would actually happen. I doubt we're going to get like a musical number, or they're going to go to that musical and it's going to be a big part of it. I think it's just they're trying to like world build. Like, here's some of the things that have happened after the fact. Like, Steve Rogers is so revered, and somebody wrote like a Hamilton style musical about him or something to that effect. I think that's what they're trying to do. I mean, I guess we'll see if that pans out the way that I think it will. But what my biggest concern is that as much fun as this looks like, we have to remember that Hawkeye was a pretty morose killer in Endgame. He had lost his family and he was out murdering Yakuza, and just there's got to be like some heavy weight on his conscience. And there's nothing in the trailer to suggest, that was one of my main questions about Endgame is, and maybe that's why his wife isn't in the trailer, aside from the fact that maybe they just couldn't get Linda Cardellini to come back. Maybe she has a scheduling conflict or something, but maybe they've written that in to where, they've split up at this point because he's not the same man. He's, he lost them and he went down a very dark path, and maybe that estrangement and is going to be part of the story, and maybe she actually is in it towards the end. Maybe his relationship with Kate Bishop will actually
it'll really be Die Hard. He's trying to get his family back.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that would be, I mean, and that may very well be part of the pitch. And by the end, he may work past his estrangement with his wife due to spending his time with this girl and kind of reconnecting with his humanity. So that would be pretty good. I'd enjoy that kind of story.
They only hint at it once very shortly when he sees the Ronin costume on the television. You see the look on his face as it's like clearly he's remembering the things that he did when he was Ronin, which were certainly not pleasant.
He's remembering the film. He's remembering himself from behind himself because we just got footage from Endgame. That's one of those things that always gets me in movies and things like that when they show a flashback with a character. The character's remembering, but he's just remembering the footage that we saw that was outside of themselves.
Yeah. So that's your big concern is what exactly he did and how that affects him, whether or not they're going to incorporate that into the film.
Yeah, I think that the jokey
the show.
Yeah, the jokey tone of the trailer it kind of threw me off because I was like, well, wait, what about all the darkness that that he went through, and are we going to get a piece of that? But it is just a teaser trailer. They're trying to put their best foot forward and make you feel like it's going to be fun. There may be a lot of darker elements within the show, but man, if they can balance it and they can they can tell a compelling story, I'd really like that because I'd like to really like Hawkeye. I liked the comics Hawkeye before Matt Fraction got a hold of him.
Yeah, and I think it's just like a fun, like Christmas, setting for an MCU.
Die Hard.
like sidekick thing is interesting. I think it'll be a good time, and I think it's a good way to introduce Kate Bishop. I imagine by the time this is over, the baton is handed over, and he gives her the Hawkeye mantle freely, which I think will definitely help the character much better than when she was in Marvel Comics and just assumed the mantle of Hawkeye, and then he kind of returned from the dead.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's a more naturalistic way to handle it. Much as I think that Falcon becoming Captain America was handled better in the comics. Obviously you had decades and decades of him being Cap's sidekick in that relationship to fall back on, which you didn't in the movies. But also just the way that first story was handled. Rick Remender didn't set out to tell a political story with heavy-handed propaganda, like later when I think it was Nick Spencer who took on the second run. Rick Remender introduced Sam Wilson Cap by a big world-spanning, spy story type Hydra plot that really got me invested in Sam as Cap. So I think that this is kind of going in that same direction, and hopefully it'll make me feel as good about it as I did that first Remender story with Falcon.
Yeah, so I'm all on board. This is definitely, in my opinion, the best trailer they've had for any of these Disney Plus shows, MCU shows on Disney Plus. I think it looks exciting. It looks like it's fun. I imagine there are some darker elements, but they're certainly pitching it as if it's family friendly, something that you can watch with the kids, which I think would be great.
Yeah, I think so too. I hope that it is, and I hope it's a big action extravaganza. Wouldn't it be crazy if this was if Hawkeye was the show that everybody hailed as the best and had the best production value and the best set pieces? And man, that'd just be that'd be delightful.
Wouldn't make a lot of sense, but I'll take it.
I will too. That's that would be a thumbs up from me.
And definitely expect Aaron and myself and likely Skip to be reviewing these episodes as they come out on Disney Plus. Definitely very excited about that. And Aaron, I will talk to you later, buddy.
All right, man. Thanks for having me on, Wes.